Welcome to the Veterinary Social Media Podcast, where you learn how to navigate social media and apply it to the world of veterinary medicine. I'm your host, Cheyanne, and let's get down to business. Welcome to the episode today, and I'm so excited because we have our official first guest on the show, and his name is Michael Shirley. He is the Chief Empowerment Officer for Family Pet Health, and if I'm understanding correctly, you are also the owner of your practice. Is that correct?
I am a co-owner with my lovely wife, Dr. Amy Shirley.
I wanted to have Michael on the show today for a few reasons. One, he's a former client of mine, so I have a little bit of a different perspective of how his practice operates. But from a distance, I am a huge fangirl of everything that they're doing at the practice. And so I want to dive in, just get to know your practice a little bit more, talk about some of the unique events that you've been doing, and talk about just really your overall vision for your practice today, Michael. So with that, I would love to first off just kind of start with your backstory and get to know how Family Pet Health came to be and really your journey to vet med. Because if I'm understanding correctly, you aren't a doctor, you didn't start out in vet med, but you have a little bit of a different journey. So,
Very long story short is that I am an educator by training. My career was in agriculture education as a 4-H agent and as an agriculture teacher at the high school. One day I was sitting on the couch and my wife came home after about 10 years of being an associate veterinarian at one practice. She came home one day she decided to leave that practice and was doing relief work. About a year and a half into that process, she came home one day and said, I want to open my own practice. And after the initial shock wore off, I had given her a high five and told her I would help her however I could. And that led to her saying, I need
yeah.
you to help me with the business and side of things and the people side of things, and I'll be the doctor. And so that's been our dynamic is my wife started out, we purchased an existing practice in the spring of 2018. It was my wife. We had 3 team members, and I was teaching full time and was helping after school. And I would all night long, usually until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It was a tiring time then because we did a bunch of remodeling and rebranding.
Yeah.
But now we just celebrated 1 year in a new hospital, a brand new building. We have 5 doctors now and 23 team members, I think. I lose track. But we have a big team. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
growing, and so my background was education. My wife and I, the very first time I ever met my wife or saw her, I was working in a veterinary hospital, and I remember very vividly where I
Okay.
was and where she walked around the corner, and I was like, "Whoa," you know. And but we attended the same undergraduate university, and then she went on to vet school, and we got married 2 weeks after she graduated. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. I always like to ask people about their story and how they got to vet med because I feel like not everyone was like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I want to be a vet when we grow up or when I grow up," but it's not always that same like, "Okay, I'm going to be vet." And it all runs smoothly from there. And so I just love to hear those stories. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely. It's a cool journey. It's really unique. You know, I think like many of your listeners, I wanted to be a veterinarian, but I didn't want to study.
Yeah.
So those don't go well together.
Same, same. I always wanted to when I entered. I'm also a huge fan of 4-H. My love for dogs started with 4-H in middle school and into high school. But I fell in love with the whole like animal behavior and animal science of it all. So I was like, okay, I'll be a vet. Well, I joined my hospital and was like, nope, I don't want to be a doctor. I'd rather do marketing. um, yeah. But with that said, you've celebrated 1 year of being in your new location. I would love to dive in a little bit more of like your whole journey of coming to create that vision for your new practice. Like, I know a lot of hospitals will just move locations, but I feel like it had a deeper mission and meaning for you.
Oh, for sure. You know, when I asked my wife why she wanted to own her own practice, because she had never talked about that ever in our dating,
Yeah.
in marriage, that topic of ownership had never come up from her. And so when I asked her why, she said, I want to create the type of work environment where I want to go to work every day and I want to surround myself with
Mm.
people with whom I want to work every day. And I said, now that I can help you with because that's people and that's what I do.
Yeah.
So the title that I gave myself is Chief Empowerment Officer. My job, my role is to find great people, hire them, equip them with the tools that they need to do their job, and then work alongside them to accomplish the vision of our practice. Everyone that applies to family pet health before they can come in for an in-person interview, that's where it starts. Like getting buy-in starts there. Before they can come in for an in-person
Mhm.
interview, we require them to read a book. The book is called The Energy Bus,
Oh,
and
I
it's
love that.
10 rules for fueling your life with positivity, your life and work, family with positive energy. That's not to say that it's like sunshine and rainbows and puppies and kittens all the time at our office. It's never
Yeah.
been that way, right? Um, but we talk about our vision all the time, and it all goes back to Dr. Shirley's desire to uh, build work in a nice facility where they enjoy going to work, and then having a really great high functioning team. Everything else that we've done that's been successful is because we've stayed true to those first two things. The new building that you're talking about, when we started out in a 1960s ranch style house, it was almost the identical floor plan to our
Wow.
first house. It was not meant to be a veterinary hospital. And so when we decided that we were gonna build a new building, we had a vision board in our office, and, it was right when you came out of the only bathroom we had in the hallway, and I would write questions on the board for my team to answer, while we were going through the design process. Things like, "What is your ideal vacation?" And they would put things on there. "What is your favorite restaurant?" They would put things on there. "What's the one thing in this building that you love that you're gonna miss? What's something that you can't wait to get rid of? What's a design feature that we must include in our hospital?" And so our team at the time they helped us design what we have now. And it does go back to that vision. We spend more time, at least I know my wife and I do, spend more of our waking hours at the office than we do at our house. So it is important that we had a place that brought us joy when we were walking in or leaving in the evening. So we incorporated a lot of natural lighting. Our Casco kennels that we have. Everything in our hospital was laid out and picked with a purpose, and that purpose goes back to our core values and our purpose statement.
I love that so much. Something that you said really stuck out to me that I feel like is a huge missing piece to a lot of teams when they come to do social media in particular is you had buy-in from the get-go. That was something you were very intentional about, and you laid the foundation for the culture from the get-go. And I we'll talk about this here in a few minutes because I want to dive into that more, but I feel like that intentionality from leadership trickles down to the support team and how they feel about coming to work and how they feel about promoting your clinic, right? Like I don't
Right.
know about for you, but when I was working at my clinic, I was a huge ambassador for the place that I worked because I loved it so much. And I wasn't afraid to tell people, yeah, I work at X and X clinic, right? And it was something that I wasn't ashamed about. And I'm not saying like, people feel ashamed about with their work, but I know some people that aren't excited about work and don't want to tell people about it. So, um, yeah, I love that. For you, is that the case with your team? Are they excited to tell people, "Hey, I work here," and really just promote the clinic for you with word of mouth?
Not only as it sounds so, is it braggadocious, I guess, so please don't take it as that, but not only do the people that currently work at our office feel that way, but our many of our, not all of our, but many of our former employees also feel that way and still
Mm.
recommend us. Even those that were let go by me,
Wow.
still, it has take not everybody, but many of them have come back
Mhm.
and said, "Man, that was the best thing that ever happened to me," and they still talk about the work environment that we had, and so yeah, I believe it because that's how we are very clear of who we are. And we're very clear through who we are through our hiring process, through our onboarding process, through our client education and communications, our social media. Everything explains who we are, and it's real, so we're not faking it because we're online. And so when people do join our
Yeah.
team or clients do come into our hospital, they're like, "Oh, yeah, this is exactly what I thought it was gonna be like," because I've been following your journey since you were in that old house." I'm like, "Oh, yeah." They're like, "I love those old videos you did when you were demoing stuff at 2 o'clock in the morning and then cleaning up before the next day before your team opened up." And so it's real, and that's what I would tell people that are watching this is as you work on your social media marketing, just be yourself, and people will appreciate it. It doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be perfect. People are so curious about what we do in our vet hospital. You can just show something that you think is totally boring and run of the mill, and people are fascinated by that. And
Yeah.
so, and if you're just true to who you are, then I trust any of my team to post on our social media accounts. I love it when I see them talk about in our community Facebook groups when they're like, when people are looking for veterinarians, they say, "Come check us out." I love working here. Or in the technician job posting Facebook group, um, when someone asks about working in Tennessee, and my team we're in that. I think they know we're in that group now together. But when my team gets to there and responds
Yeah.
first, that's awesome. It makes me feel good to see that they really enjoy working with us. And we have long-term employees, so that's also we've been open for on our we're now 6.5 years in, and many of our people have been there. This is their first job in vet med, and they're still with us, whether that be 6 years, 5 years, 3 years, or even just a couple of months now. So yeah.
Yeah. I love that, Jen. I also love to hear that there's a low turnover rate. Like, of course, that's always going to happen in business and with practices, but I love just that there's that passion and that your team is willing to stick up for you, even if they're not working with you anymore. That speaks volumes. And honestly, like I feel anyway that we could spend a lot of money on advertising and spending so much time on social media, but really it's down to the word of mouth and how the community views you as a practice.
Do I feel that that's true now more than ever. When you and I first started working together, uh, I think that we could still control the narrative a lot more than we can now. Like
Hmm.
through our posting and our marketing. And what I found now is that it's really hard to track whether things are working or not. Engagement's hard to really come by, um, and yet we're
Yeah.
still churning out content. And I think that the really important thing about social media is to have a consistent presence, and don't worry about whether you're
Yes.
it I don't think you can track ROI on it anymore. It's really, really hard to track ROI on the time that you spend on social media. And but I don't think that that should be a reason that people should stop doing it. I want to use social media to help tell our story so that the people that aren't a good fit for family pet health go look somewhere else, and the people that are a right fit for family pet health become more curious and want to reach out, or they start looking for more content and it's easily found.
Oh, you said something there that was so powerful, and I want to dive in deep because I feel like a lot of practices want to attract everybody in their community or work with anybody, but I am a firm believer of repelling
So,
people.
so-
Um, if
I
if you
just
don't want to work with them.
go Google Family Pet Health, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and read our latest 1-star
Hmm.
review. And that is an example of where we didn't communicate with the wrong person the right way. What does that mean? When
Mm,
somebody calls and
yeah.
says, "How much is it to get my cat spayed?" The question that our CSRs are supposed to ask is, "Oh, thanks for calling. Is price going to be your main determining factor in who you decide to go?" And if that person says yes, then we say, "Well, we're not the lowest price in town, but let me save you a lot of time, and I will give
Mm.
you the 3 cheapest veterinarians in Rutherford County because we know them." Yeah. And
Oh, yes. I love this so much. I love that so much. I want to pause there real quick, Michael, because that right there, like I know there's a lot of practices looking for clients, but if you don't want to work with somebody, if you just get the sense that they're not going to be a good fit for your practice just because of that question alone, I love that you said, okay, we're not going, basically, you're not going to be the best fit for us, but here are other places that can serve you well. you are serving that client just with that answer, and you are attracting the kind of clients you want to work with, because people are going to say, oh, okay, well, they're not going to be the cheapest, but they took the time to even direct me to a different direction for saying, we're not for you, or we're booked for 8 weeks. Sorry, bye. Like, I know I might be stepping on some toes there, but I love what you said there, because as a former veterinary assistant, I didn't want to work with certain clients because they made me feel uncomfortable, or they just weren't very pleasant people. And I hate to say that, but they just weren't happy people, and they want me, cause me to come to work because of that. So
Well,
so please continue.
so instead of giving that line and finding out, we told her our price, and she laughed on the phone and hung up the whole call from the time that the first ring until she hung up was 54 seconds. And so she left that phone call and went straight to Google and left a 1-star review. And I'm like, man, don't you
Wow.
have anything better to do with your life? But no, she didn't. So she left us and told us that we were price gouging. And so my first response, I was in a bad mood that day. and so my first response, I typed it out and I hit post, and I looked at my brother and said, hey, will you read that review? The response I just left. And he read the first sentence, and he leaned back in his chair and looked at me, and he goes, rewrite it. I was like, man. He goes, that's not your voice. And I'm like, all right. And so
Yeah.
I did. But the response that I gave her, first sentence, I don't remember what her name was, Amanda, I think. I was like, Amanda, we wish you the best of luck in finding a good veterinary partner. Next paragraph. That's it. That's it for her. I didn't address any of the other junk that she said. So my next paragraph was, for those of you reading 1-star Google reviews, let me take this opportunity to tell you about the family pet health difference. And then I listed what makes us different. The fact that we have 6 licensed technicians, that they're the ones that are doing the monitoring, that we do pre and post-op pain control and all these different things. And it's in that 1-star Google review, which that's where people go to look. They don't look at the 5 stars. Because I do it. They sort by lowest and read those and go with it. Because even though I disagreed with her coming and leaving a 1-star review, she didn't lie. I mean, she said that we're price gouging, but we're not. But what she said, she gave the right estimate, of how much it costs to get a cat spayed. And so there was truth in her. There was some truth in her post. But it gave me an opportunity. I kind of flipped that. It gives me an opportunity. I'm not talking to her. She's never coming to Family Pet Health. But there are people that are going to be on Google reading those reviews, and how I respond to someone like that is going to tell them more about me than just about anything else that I could do. And we have had people that, when we ask every single incoming client, how did you hear about Family Pet Health? And more than 10 that I can think of have said, your response to 1-star Google reviews. That's how they found it, or that's what made them come to Family Pet Health. And so I think that everyone out there should respond to every single review, even if it's just with a thank you, and you'll learn how to deal with Google reviews, but use those to your advantage, even the 1-star ones.
Absolutely. I love that a lot, because I feel like people take on those negative responses or negative reviews from people and take it as a personal attack. And the thing is, it's not about you. It's about that person and how they're feeling and what's going on in their world. You just entered it, whether they contacted you, you interrupted their feed, whatever, and they're coming from a place that is not very happy. There's something going on with them. So if we can reply to them with not addressing anything emotionally, just coming neutrally, sticking to the facts, but really just focusing on the people who will see that review and are wanting to come partner up with you in your practice, then that is going to be just a better outcome. And like you said, so thank you for bringing that up, because I feel like that is a huge hurdle for a lot of people to overcome. And this is wonderful.
Well, this is another one of those reasons that being a high school teacher uniquely qualified me for running a veterinary hospital, because I've had more than one student stand up in the middle of a class, throw me the bird and tell me to F off. And all the other students are looking and pulling out their cell phones to record. And so there is nothing that some online keyboard warrior is going to do that's going to hurt my feelings.
Exactly. Exactly. We have a choice of how we are going to react to whatever people say to us or
That's
do
right.
to us. So
The rule number one in the energy bus is you are the driver of your own bus. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond to it. And so it is sometimes a hard pill to swallow, but I just assume the best in people, respond appropriately, and move on.
I love that. I'm writing down that book recommendation because I would love to read that myself. Now, with that said, I want to talk about Traction. I started reading it and I need to finish it, but I know that the book Traction by, what's his name? Can
Uh,
you remember the
Gino
author's name? Can you
Wickman.
tell me? Gino. Yes. Okay. I'll put it into the show notes for everybody, but I love how you took the premise and the concept from Traction and made it into your social media manager's goals for her. So go ahead and dive in deep on that because this is really really awesome to me.
So the book Traction is written by Gino Wickman. It's about EOS, which stands for the Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's a book that's designed for companies that have between 10 and I think 250 employees. But really, if anybody out there is thinking of owning your own business, no matter what it is, I am sold out to the Traction cult. So you should read the book. Read the book. Um, in the book, it talks about company goals, 5, 3, 1 year goals, and then for each person on your team, each quarter they're working on things called rocks. So these are big job, big things that need to get accomplished that take more than 1 week in order to help achieve a company goal. So this year for 2024, our company goals, we had two in particular. One was to increase dental compliance by 10%, and one was to increase heartworm compliance by 10%. We had a revenue goal in there and some other fear-free goals and hiring a doctor goals. So we had some other things in there too, but those were our compliance goals. So how do you do that? Well, you have to break it down into quarters. So our social media manager, Haley Cameron, does a phenomenal job of staying up on our, especially Instagram, because I don't do anything on Instagram. So she does that, and yeah, what she does is amazing. So she has a goal. She has her own goals of posting so many social media posts per week, and she tracks them and keeps up with them. We do sometimes sneak offer codes in there so we can see if any of them are moving the needle on anything. And so traction. So Haley's not the only one working on a goal. Every single person on our team has individual goals and rocks. And so some of her goals, are to produce a video about our weight loss program. And so she's working with another team member who that's their big rock, and they work together to let people know about those things. So Haley, I sent Haley through your course and the Instagram course specifically because I knew nothing about Instagram, and so she has just rocked and rolled with that and has done a really great job with all of our social media, making the graphics and infographics and things that are real easily shared. And we're seeing good results from that. And again, it's providing an online presence so that when curious pet parents out there finally go to Google your practice's name, they can find relevant and timely content.
I love that so much. And I bet your team feels a lot more bought in from another perspective into your practice's vision because you have goals and a purpose for them versus just, okay, we got to pump clients through, we got to get all this done and this done. And so I love that. And I love that you've established a certain amount of posts that you and Haley agree that she's going to meet and that she's working with other team members and that you're encouraging her to do that. I know that a lot of our listeners are frustrated because they don't have a lot of team buy-in, and that's why I want to ask you more questions about this because I think there's a lot of work that practices could do, but there's a lot that as the support team members could do to ask and prompt our leadership to say, okay, what expectations do you require of me for this? Or what do you envision of my role as the social media manager doing? Because if I recall correctly, Haley is also in charge of doing the events, which I want to dive into. And she's also a receptionist, right? So she's got a lot of other responsibilities, but that doesn't mean that she's feeling so overwhelmed or so bottlenecked about everything that she can't feel excited about work. Um, so feel free to talk about that more if you'd like.
One of the neat things about Traction is that when anyone on our team encounters problems or issues, we put it on the issues list. And so let's say that we had set a goal for Haley to do 25 social media posts per week. And that's a number that is it's a SMART goal, right? It hits all, it's specific, measurable,
Yeah.
attainable, and relevant and time bound. And the not only we don't stop with SMART goals, we do smarter goals. So we evaluate and respond, as the ER on that. But if she's encountering a problem that she can't meet her goal, she's going to put that on the issues list. And the issues list, she might just say, having trouble reaching 25 posts a week. That's the issue. She doesn't have to come interrupt her day, interrupt my day, or anything like that. We deal with issues at a regularly scheduled weekly meeting, and when we come up with that issue, we identify it. We identify the issue is she's not posting 25 posts a week. So we have identified it. Then we discuss it. Why? What are some challenges? What are some things that are preventing you from doing that? Is it another person isn't doing what they're supposed to do, which is holding you back from doing what you're supposed to do? Or is it purely that you don't have time?
Yeah.
So we identify it, we discuss it, and then we solve it. So together we may reevaluate and say, hey, 25 was just too many. So we're going to move it to 14. And we've solved it. We lowered it to 14. Or it might be,
Yeah.
all I really need to is 35 minutes on a Tuesday to block myself off, and I can knock out a whole week's worth of posts as long as I have that blocked. Well, we can discuss, is that possible? Yes, it's possible. We're going to adjust the schedule so that Haley can step away from the 3 other things that she does, and she's just going to put on her social media posting hat and get it done, and then go back to her regularly scheduled programming, right? So we identify it, we discuss it, and we solve it. And we do it in specific scheduled meetings so that it's not blowing up our workday. Because ultimately, we're a veterinary hospital. We're supposed to be getting clients in the door and to a room so our medical team can take care of them, and then we check them out and get them out the door. That's our goal. That's what pays the bills. Our social media is not paying the bills. But social media might be what's helping us keep our books full. So that's where it's like, is this important or not? Well, I couldn't. It's important. I know it's important, but I can't tell you exactly what the ROI is on it. I just know that we're going to keep doing it. So
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just taking that time to assess, okay, how effective is this going to be right now? And are we using our energy and time wisely on social media, or is there somewhere else we can focus, or, just taking that time to reassess? And I feel like that's an essential step to marketing as a whole. Like, I know a lot of practices feel like they should do social media just because that's what they've been told, or that they've heard like, oh, everyone's on social media. That's where all the money's coming from. But they don't really stop and pause and say, okay, is this an effective tool for my practice? Because I can tell you there's 8 hospitals just in my town alone. So it's kind of saturated in that regard. But so social media might be an important role for us. But for someone who's out in a rural area that has they're the only competition, right? It's just them, social media might not be such an important tool for them. So just taking that time to see, okay, how is this going to apply to my situation? How can I make it possible? And how can I still be consistent with it without burning out and making it, the bane of my existence, right? So I love that. So with that, I do want to pivot a bit, but as I mentioned, Haley's also in charge of managing events. So I know that you guys recently, a few months ago at the time of this recording, just finished, Walk My Dog challenge. And now you're doing trivia nights. And so I would love to hear from you on how both of those events um, have been going for your practice and what kind of return on investment have you been getting from those?
So the Walk My Dog Challenge for us started in 2020. It was we totally saw it in a chat. Somebody mentioned it offhand in a Facebook group post, and I was like, "Wait, what was that you said? Walk My Dog? What's that about?" And
Yeah.
so they were friendly enough to just share with us their framework. It's a community event. It's open to anybody in the whole world. You walk your dog, you log your miles, you win free prizes. It's that simple. So we created a landing page on our website. We use Whisker Cloud. We talked to them. They just created a Google entry form. So we would just say familypethealth.com/walk my dog, and it takes you to the entry form. And they put in their contact information, name, email, and phone number, their dog's name, breed, size. They put in their age group as well, and that gets them entered. Then we have this whole email system. Now we're 5 years. This is our fifth time to do this, so it's all pretty automated at this point. But we do it for 8 weeks, and at the end of the 8 weeks, we have a big dog party. We pass out T-shirts to everyone that walked 50 miles. Everyone that walks 5 miles gets like poop bags. 10 miles is a squeaky ball, and if you walk 50 miles is a T-shirt, and 75 miles is a free exam. So that's a big deal. And they're even allowed to donate their
Oh, cool.
gift certificate for an exam to someone else. So, maybe they love their vet on the other side of town, but they have a friend that's on our side of town. Like, hey, I won this from Family Pet Health. I'm not going to drive over there, so you take it. So it's a little marketing thing there. But we walked to the moon and back last year, and this year we walked around the world, and I don't 5,500 miles. So it's pretty cool. But the cool thing about it, and I think what you are wanting me to maybe talk about probably, is that it's not just Family Pet Health, but each week we identified local business partners in our community. They had to be small business, independent small businesses, mom and pops, if you will. And we went to them, told them what we were doing, and asked them if they would like to sponsor one of the weeks of the Walk My Dog
Hmm.
Challenge. So each week has a small business sponsor. They give out a picture prompt, and so you on your walk with your dog, you take a picture and you post it. You tag us, and then we do drawings. Sometimes it's 5 drawings in one week. Sometimes it's one drawing at the end of the week for everyone that posted a picture. For example, Simply Pure Sweets, my favorite place to eat breakfast in
Yeah.
Murfreesboro, they have these giant cinnamon rolls, which are really bad for my diabetes, but they give away 5 of them. So it's a picture of your dog
Mm.
stopping along the walk to enjoy a snack. Evans Plant Farm, take a picture of your dog stopping
Hmm.
to smell the flowers, and they give them a big, like a really nice gift basket. They're always our first week sponsor because it's still not just summer heat, so plants are still a big thing at that time, gets people excited. A local animal photographer donates a session. So there's all sorts. A real estate agent gives a $100 gift card to a home improvement store. We had a yoga studio, or it's actually a bar like studio. They gave a whole month free membership. Doggy daycare did a free grooming or something. So it was great. And so what we're doing is leveraging their social media to redirect people back to Family Pet Health. So we may not have reached their clients on our own to get them
Yeah.
to register, but when they say, "Hey, it's our week to sponsor the Walk My Dog Challenge," go to familypethealth.com to sign up, and they send that out to all of their email list or social media contacts, which is redirecting them back to our website. So we partner. We've done this
Hmm.
5 years. We partner with our favorite local fear-free dog trainer in town, and it's a joint venture, and it has been a real success.
Hmm.
Now the ROI on it, can't really tell you. Um, I will tell you that it hasn't garnered as many new clients as I thought
Yeah.
it would. Like, we have a lot of people that get that $75 free or $85 free exam, and
Mhm.
only a small percentage of them have ever been redeemed. And I don't really know the reason why. I might look into that more if I have time. But honestly, people are pretty bonded to their vets, and we're not doing this to try to steal people away. We're just doing it to help the community. Obviously, it started in 2020. We
Yeah.
didn't know it at the time, but when we were planning this, it turned out to be a huge thing. The local newspaper wrote a story about it and everything because it was right in the middle of COVID. And but we didn't know that at the time when we were planning it, that it was going to be so cool. And now we've just been doing it. Like I said, it really doesn't take a lot of time. Cost me less than $1,000 in prizes, maybe $2,000 in prizes to do it. But
Mhm.
it's good content, and people really enjoy it. We've had people that do it every year, so we're going to continue it. I do know that Haley wants to have an evaluation meeting this go around, because I think we're going to require some of our community partners to be more specific in how they share it, or they can't be our partners anymore because we do all the work. We just need them to share it. So that's that walk my dog challenge. Yeah, the walk my dog challenge is it's been a lot of fun, and we'll continue to do it. We're going to make some changes to it this year. Now the trivia night is an idea that I had. I don't even know what I was doing when I had the idea, but we sponsor trivia. So it's dinner and trivia at our office. We have a in the new building, and people should go check it out. Go to familypethealth.com building project and take a look at the floor plan. It's all posted there. You can look at it. But we built a garage on the end of our building, and it's about 1,200 square feet. So it's bigger than the actual building that we were in over before we moved.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of flex space. It is literally a drive-through vet service garage, but it holds about 100 people with tables and chairs. And so we offered four local nonprofits that were animal related for the well, one was trade school related, but four local nonprofits. We said, "Hey, we will provide the space, and I will pay for this guy that runs trivia. That will be my donation to your organization, is I'll pay for the trivia guy. So all you have to do is sell tickets, and we're going to make this a lot of fun." So far, we've successfully held two of these events. Our third one is Monday, and we've already raised about $5,000 for just the first sessions that we've done, and that money goes straight to those animal groups, and we're really proud of that. It's been a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
that event has resulted in at least 3 new clients in 2 events. So, I consider that a huge ROI because it cost me about $200 for the trivia guy. For $200, I got those clients to come. So, the lifetime value of a client of ours is way more than $200. So, that's been really
Yeah.
great. And the best part is that we're serving our community, which is a big part. That's one part of our mission, is that we want to be active in our local community and be a place that people come for more than just vet care. So having these trivia nights has been a lot of fun. It's a blast. You should go to our TikTok and you can see some of the highlights from those trivia nights so far, and they've been really great. And we've been able to raise some large sums of money for by their standards for some really great local nonprofits.
Awesome. I love this so much because even though your practice, to anyone listening, may not have the space like Michael does to host events, there are ways for you to continue hosting events in your local area that is community based, and still getting your name out there. And I really like how you're using the Walk My Dog Challenge to get uh to use other people's audiences in your local community to really push out your own name, and to really get your name out there. And that is a really cool hack to get more followers to your account if that is a goal of yours. I will be doing an episode on that a little bit more because I definitely have some opinions about that. But overall, it really helps you to get more reach to people in your local community because, Michael, I'm sure you can attest to this. Really focusing on your local community, whether it's just on social media or doing just events, is going to be a better return on investment for whatever you're putting into social media. Because if you're focusing on the people in your area, you'll get more clients that way versus just everybody in the world, because everybody in the world's not going to be able to do business with you. As you can tell with just your walk your dog challenge, people aren't coming across town for whatever reason that may be to do business with you, but people know what you're about. You're building that brand awareness through that. And I think that's really the best thing that you can do for your brand overall, because if you're not getting clients, but people are telling their friends and family about you, it's a much easier buy-in for people
Right.
to come to you versus just cold search off the internet.
Yeah, and so
So no, I love
li
that.
listeners can go if you don't have a meeting space to hold 75 people, then clearly you're not gonna have a trivia night in your exam space, right? But just like our vendors have CE at restaurants, you can find a restaurant that will provide you space. Um, find a school gymnasium, find,
Mhm. Yeah.
just find a space, and it doesn't have to be a restaurant, it can be just a warehouse space. As long as it's climate controlled, you're good, right? And bring in food trucks and do this. It's easier than you may think that it is. And like Cheyenne said, it's just leveraging other people's social media and contact email list to at least plant a seed with your company's name in it. They may not. The Beasley Animal Foundation is a low-cost spay, neuter, and vaccine clinic that's just down the street from me. I used to consider them competition, and now I consider them friends. Like one of our doctors is on their board of directors.
Mhm.
They are literally like they're the closest other vet clinic to our office. So, but rather than see them as competition,
Yeah.
we looked for ways to partner with them. They have it's called the Oliver Trust, and it is an account. It's just a spay, neuter, and vaccine clinic. So when they diagnose a cracked canine tooth or tumors or something else, they say, "Hey, you need to find a full service vet." And when people say, "Well, I don't have any money," the Oliver Fund, the Beasley Clinic can call me and say, "We're sending Cheyenne down to see you, and she's approved for up to $800 in
Mhm.
care." Our team knows that if that person's coming, we don't do many discounts, but we work really hard to keep that low, and then we just send that
Mhm.
bill to Beasley. So, and
Yeah.
they have several other vets in town that work with them as well, so they're able to do that. So
Yeah.
my point is like just think outside of the box. Look at community partners that are doing good work, people that you want to be associated with, and just go up to them and say, "Hey, I heard this crazy idea about a food truck trivia night. Would you like to like we'll help put it together. Yeah, we'll help put it together, but the money stays with you." Why wouldn't they do
Yeah.
that? That's like what, so
Exactly.
yeah, and if they're a nonprofit, they can like all of ours are 501(c)(3)s. They do all the collecting of money, the ticket sales and all that. All we help do is produce it. It's a really cool creative way to have fun and raise money for nonprofits and do some marketing on the side there too.
Yeah. Oh, such a great idea with the food trucks, because I know a lot of practices have parking lots, right? So if you just close early one day or decide to open up like on a Saturday, if you're not open on Saturdays, normally just host an event during the summer if it's not too hot in your area.
Right.
And just have a food truck come up and do trivia night or whatever that may be for you. You know, that's a great opportunity right there to support your community and bring people to your practice. They get an idea of what's going on at your practice and they get to know you and your team. So that's wonderful. All right, Michael, I have one more question for you, and we'll land the plane here, as the cool kids say. But I would love to talk about your podcast if you're open to that, because I feel
Sure.
like that's a lot of that podcast. That the concept of the podcast is a area where I feel like a lot of practices could really lean into. So I would love to know how that's going for you and how that's opened the door for your clients, as or at least in the way that's been a good ROI. What I'm trying to get at.
So, our podcast is called the Family Pet Podcast. It's a podcast for curious pet parents where we believe the more you know about pet healthcare, the better pet parent you can be. Tell I've said that a few times, right? Our episodes are about 25 minutes long, which is the average length that it takes someone to walk 1 mile with their dog. Walk your dog, walk my dog.
Yep,
So,
yep.
yeah. So the podcast, honestly, I'll be completely honest with you. The podcast started because I miss teaching. I miss talking. I miss like educating people. I miss my classroom. So the podcast was a way to keep me from going back to teaching. So, but yeah. So it was something that I had thought about starting a podcast with my kids, where we were going to call
Mhm.
it Tales of Tennessee, TAIL
Oh, cool. Yeah.
of Tennessee, and we were just going to tell fun stories about animal related stories about Tennessee animals. But anyway, what we realized was that we needed it for our office. So the first, I don't know, 15 episodes were 15 they were the answers to the 15 most asked questions in the exam room. And the thought process was we would make an episode about all of the things that we constantly are talking about in our exam room. Then the next time someone
Mhm.
asked about it, we would say, "Oh, well, here's a little handout. Scan this QR code. It'll take you to our podcast, and you need to listen to episode 3, which is all about heartworms. Or you need to listen to episode 1, which was about the rabbit hemorrhagic disease." And that was a
Yeah.
big deal. It made its way into Tennessee for the first time. So the podcast has continued to be strictly for pet parents as an educational opportunity to teach them about pet healthcare so they could take better care of their pets and be their pet's hero. And it has been so much fun. I have met so many cool
Yeah.
people in vet med when I told them I have a podcast and I want to talk about that one weird thing that they're the expert in. They're like, "Yes, I would love to talk about Ehrlichia." And like, nobody ever wants me to talk about Ehrlichia. I'm like, "Well, I want you to do a whole podcast about Ehrlichia." And they're like, "This is amazing." So,
It's like Christmas
um,
came early.
yeah, so it's been a lot of fun, and it's certainly built my network up of veterinary professionals, people that I can call when I need advice or some consulting on a case or something. It's been really cool to have that. It is hard. It takes a lot of time. So even like right now, if somebody went to our podcast, you would see that I haven't posted in about, it's probably getting close to 5 weeks because I have been going
Mhm.
nonstop. But once school starts back and we get our family back into a more normal routine, we'll get back on track posting them. But it's our latest
Yeah.
podcasts are better audio quality, better flow than our first ones. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to have good audio. That's the main thing. Your content doesn't have to be great,
Yes.
but your audio needs to be crisp.
Yes, 100%. And nowadays, it doesn't have to be polished. People don't want polished content. They just want to see that you're present or entertaining them or giving them some quick wins or something that's adding to their life, and they're golden. And I think that's the huge shift in social media in particular. Um and I think podcasts are a perfect place to have on social media or use social media to promote to your podcasts. Just because people want that raw authentic conversations like this. So I I think that the podcast is going to be a huge opportunity for you. And I wanted to ask, are you transcribing those podcasts into your blog and making those rankable search engine content?
Just recently switched to Riverside as our recording platform, and it does
Okay.
it does make a transcript. So we do auto generate the transcript. It's got some errors in it and stuff, but we do use that to upload to Spotify and YouTube. It's on. We just put it up straight up on YouTube now too. So again, it doesn't
Yes.
have to be perfect. People understand. I know, when we read subtitles, when we're watching TikTok on
Mhm.
silent during a meeting, they don't always get it right. But you are intelligent enough to fill in the blanks the way they need to be, resort words, right? So just
Yes.
do it. But so yes, we do use the transcription. We have it on anywhere you can download a podcast. We're there, and then we do have it on YouTube as well. So again, when people finally decide that they're ready to search and learn more about this crazy vet clinic that has the outdoor patio seating for their exam rooms and a garage, like who has a garage? And so they're finally ready to do
Yeah.
that search. When they type in family pet health, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, everything that populates is going to be, they're going to have a wealth of options to choose from of how they want to learn more about us.
I love that. I think that podcasts, whether you guys, whoever's listening, does a podcast, does a YouTube channel, does blog, I think it's really important nowadays. And I know it takes a lot of extra time and you're already pressed for time with social media, but I would love for you just to open your mind to doing some form of long form content like a podcast, YouTube, blog, like I said, and really leveraging that to get some good organic reach through that on the internet. But you can use that for your social media. So that can be a fuel, that can be your topic for a social media post. You can repurpose that content. So it's not such a heavy load like, okay, I have to create a podcast. I have to create something new. No, you're just repurposing something, this huge cake, and then you're just cutting it up so that it's easy to distribute. So weird analogy, but Michael, thank you so much for coming onto the show today. I really appreciate you just sharing everything that you've been doing at Family Pet Health. And I know you've mentioned it a few times, but if people want to follow you and connect with you in particular, where is the best place they can connect?
The best place is just go to familypethealth.com and you can find all of our social media channels. You can email the website, just email us there. They'll get it to me. And I would be remiss if I didn't make one final plug or one plug here before we go, that everyone out there that's watching this is obviously interested in veterinary medicine. Join us on Facebook at the Veterinary Leadership Book Club. So you just do a Google search
Yes.
do a Facebook search for VLBC, which stands for Veterinary Leadership Book Club, and we read a book and we talk about it together. We reframe all of our questions related to vet med. So we read Traction. That's before I implemented it at my office. We read through it in the book club. We've read everything from Traction to Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. And yes, we were able to successfully relate Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights to vet med. It was fun. We're currently reading QBQ, which is the question before the question. It's been a lot of fun. So I would encourage everybody to join us there on the book club as well. But you can reach me at familypethealth.com.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. I wanted to bring that up, and I will add a link to it into the show notes for everybody. But yeah, thank you so much, Michael, and I hope to talk with you more and maybe have you back on the show later.
I will do anything you need. I'm here to help you. I appreciate our friendship, and you've definitely helped Family Pet Health. Like, I want you, when you look at our building and hear our stories, definitely know that you helped us to achieve that. So appreciate that.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you found value from this episode today. And if you did, would you consider sharing, subscribing, and even reviewing the podcast? I want to be sure that you don't miss the next piece of marketing content that I have to share with you, because I've got a lot planned and I would love to be able to support you on your marketing journey. So if you wouldn't mind sharing this and following and doing all the things possible and sharing the podcast with others, that would be wonderful, because I want to help as many veterinary professionals as possible. So I can't do that without your help. So if you would be willing to do that, that would be amazing. But in the meantime, I will catch you on the next episode, and I wish you the best week possible. Bye.